Right, so today we're plugging in and cranking it up as we dive into the world of pinball and one of the biggest rock bands of all time.
That's right.
Guns N Roses, and specifically their 1994 Data East pinball machine.
Exactly.
We've got a great episode from Retro Flippers to pull from, and today we're going to look at the history of this machine. Its design, its features, gameplay, and its legacy. And we're going to try to focus a bit on the sound of the machine because it seems like that was a pretty innovative and notable aspect.
Oh, it's a sonic experience for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, let's set the stage a little bit. It's 1994 Data East is a pinball company I'm sure many of our listeners are familiar with. Where did they fit in the landscape of the pinball industry back then?
So, you had the big two, Williams and Bally, just dominating.
Right.
And Data East, they were a player for sure, but they were struggling to kind of break through.
Right.
And so they needed a hit, and they were willing to take some risks, and they were trying to appeal to a younger audience.
Okay, so what better way to appeal to a younger audience than Guns N Roses in 1994? I mean, these guys were...
colossal.
Huge.
Yeah.
Larger than life.
Global superstars.
Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah.
The Use Your Illusion albums. They were everywhere.
Everywhere.
So why were they the perfect band for a pinball machine? What was it about their image that just seemed to fit?
Well, they just had that raw, rebellious energy,
Right.
I think that's what pinball's all about, too, Breaking the rules, pushing the limits.
Yeah.
And they had that image in spades.
And speaking of pushing the limits, this is where it gets really interesting. The timing of this deal is fascinating because Guns N' Roses in 1994,
right,
they were on the verge of some pretty significant internal tensions. And this pinball machine almost accidentally captures that moment.
Yeah, it's like a snapshot in time. You've got the classic lineup.
Right.
Axl / Duff.
Yep.
Matt Sorum.
Yeah.
And of course, Izzy Stradlin was in the band originally, but by the time this machine came out, Gilby Clarke had replaced him.
Yeah. So this really is a very specific moment in the band's history captured.
Absolutely.
For fans and for pinball.
Yeah.
And it must have been a big deal at the time, but now looking back, it's even more interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So let's move on to the machine itself and talk about the design and the look of this thing. I've seen pictures, and it's striking.
Oh, yeah. It is an assault on the senses in the best way possible. The back glass just grabs you,
Okay.
It's got the band members on there, and it's all in like these vibrant reds and blacks, like a classic Guns N' Roses aesthetic.
And what about the playfield itself? What were some of the key elements they included?
So the playfield is packed with features.
Okay.
Multiple ramps, thematic targets, you name it, they got it.
Give us some specifics, like what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, there's the appetite ramp, for example.
Okay.
It's got this cool serpentine curve, kind of a nod to the Appetite for Destruction album cover.
Oh, cool.
There's the Civil War launcher, which, probably sends the ball flying towards some targets related to that song.
Okay.
But my favorite is probably the Paradise City mini playfield.
What's that?
It's this little self-contained area in the upper right corner with its own set of challenges and features,
So like a little game within the game.
Exactly, yeah.
Very cool.
But of course, the centerpiece of the whole thing is the skull.
The skull with the top hat.
Yes, wearing Slatch's signature top hat.
So iconic.
Oh, yeah. You can't miss it.
And was the skull interactive at all, or was it just a static image?
Oh, no, it's totally interactive.
Oh, wow.
If you hit certain shots, the skull's eyes light up and the jaw actually moves.
What?
Yeah.
How does that even work?
There's a solenoid connected to the jaw that's triggered when you hit specific switches.
Oh, that's cool. So it's not just a visual thing, it actually moves.
It moves. Yeah, it's really cool.
So we've talked about the look of this thing, but come on, it's Guns N' Roses.
Right.
We got to talk about the sound.
Oh, the sound is amazing.
Because this is one of the loudest, most iconic rock bands of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did Data East do justice to that?
Well, they went all out. They included digitized snippets of some of their biggest hits, like Welcome to the Jungle,
of course,
Sweet Child O' Mine, Paradise City, and even November Rain.
Wow, that's like a greatest hits compilation right there.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just instrumental music, right?
No, they actually included some vocal samples too.
Oh, wow.
Which was pretty groundbreaking at the time.
Really? So you're telling me that while you're playing this pinball machine, you can actually hear Axl Rose's voice.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible. Like, imagine you're battling for a high score, and suddenly you hear Axl screaming. You know where you are.
No way.
You're in the jungle, baby!
That's so cool.
It's awesome. It really adds to the whole experience.
Yeah, it must be like the band is right there with you.
Exactly.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've talked about the look. We've talked about the sound. Let's talk about the actual gameplay. What was the main objective for the player?
Well, the main goal is to spell out Gunsnroses.
Okay, how do you do that?
So the letters are scattered across different targets on the playfield, and when you hit the right targets, the corresponding letters light up.
Okay.
And once you spell out the whole band's name, you unlock the November Rain multiball feature. Which means you get to play with up to 3 balls at the same time.
Oh, wow, that sounds chaotic.
It's awesome.
So were there any strategies that good players would use to try and master this game?
Yeah, there were a few key things to focus on. Well, one strategy was to go for the Sweet Child of Mine targets early on. Hitting those targets not only helps you spell out the letters, but it also increases your score multiplier and unlocks other game modes.
Interesting.
Another strategy was to try and activate coma mode.
Coma mode? What is that?
Yeah, it's a nod to the song, you know?
Right.
And it's a challenging mode where you have to hit a specific sequence of ramp shots.
Okay.
But if you can pull it off, you get a triple score multiplier.
Oh, wow. So it's high risk, high reward.
Exactly.
So it sounds like this machine was packed with features and different things to discover.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Were there any, like, hidden secrets or Easter eggs that players could find?
Oh, yeah. There was a cool one called Self/Says Hi.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you have to keep the ball spinning on that central spinner for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Like 5 rotations or something. And then the display flashes /says highs, and you get some bonus points.
That's awesome.
It's a fun little Easter egg.
So how did that even come about?
Well, the story goes that one of the programmers met Slash at a bar.
No way.
Yeah, and decided to add this little tribute to the game.
That's such a cool little detail.
Yeah, it is.
So how many of these Guns N Roses pinball machines were actually made?
They only made about 3,000 of them.
Oh, wow. So they're pretty rare.
Yeah, they're definitely a collector's item.
So speaking of collecting.
Yeah.
If you wanted to buy one of these machines today, how much would it cost you?
Well, if you can find one in good condition,
right,
you're probably looking at spending anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000.
Oh, wow. So it's an investment.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you are thinking about buying one, are there any things you should look out for?
Yeah, definitely check the central skull mechanism because it can be prone to problems. And also make sure the solenoids are working properly.
Okay, so those are the electromagnets that control the ramps.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. So let's wrap things up here and talk about the legacy of this machine. You know, where does it fit in the history of pinball and the history of rock and roll?
Well, I think it's a really unique piece.
Okay.
For pinball fans, it was one of Data East's last big music-themed games before they went out of business.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of like the end of an era.
Yeah, in a way.
And for Guns N' Roses fans.
For them, it's a piece of history.
Yeah.
You know, it captures the band at their peak.
Yeah.
It's a tangible representation of that raw energy and that iconic status.
So it's not just a game, it's an experience.
Absolutely.
It's a way to step back in time and really feel what it was like to be a Guns N' Roses fan in the 90s.
Exactly.
So to all our listeners out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Does a game like this that captures a band at such a specific moment hold a different kind of significance than, say, just listening to their albums or, you know, a more generic music game?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question.
I think it does because it's not just the music.
Right.
It's the whole aesthetic.
The whole vibe.
The artwork. Yeah. The gameplay. The sounds.
Everything comes together.
It all comes together to create this really unique, immersive experience.
Definitely.
So we'll leave you with that thought, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.